My next guest says it sure is. Piper Jaffray analyst Gene Munster joins us now. And Gene, in reaction to these results, big results coming out from Apple, profit up over 75%, or over 70%, 78% to be exact. Okay, you raised your price target to $371.
Yeah, we did raise our price target. The numbers just keep going up. These are one monster quarter followed by another one, and you hit it right on. What investors that I'm talking to last night and today, their question is not what was the June quarter like. Their question is what's the sustainability of this phenomenal story.
And you think the sustainability is there?
Absolutely. If you look at, it's hard to believe that 7 years ago, Apple did about $7 billion a year in revenue. Next year, we estimate that they'll do $75 billion in revenue. Hard to imagine that that kind of pace is sustainable. But if you look at their two end markets they're really going after, which is the phone market and the computer market, they'll have at the end of next year, it's lower today, but at the end of next year, about 5% share of those. So the fact it's true that some of those people will never buy an Apple product, but the reality is the markets that they're addressing are very big and they're growing, and they have a very small share in those. So by all accounts that we're looking at, is this story is sustainable.
But you are seeing a little bit of a retreat, though, in its shares from the high we saw last month.
You are, and exactly, and I think what's happened is part of it is that the market. Second is that people have been a little bit more concerned about what the growth of the iPhone is going to be ultimately, and I think they addressed some of those concerns last night. And second is that there was concern that the Mac would be cannibalized from the iPad because people might go and buy an iPad and decide not to buy a Mac. And in fact, what we saw was a record Mac quarter, and so I think that so we didn't see any cannibalization. So I think the part of the reason the stock has sold off is related to concerns that were addressed last night. And I suspect that the stock is going to start to move higher again here in the months ahead as people get more comfortable.
But Gene, you know, I think that cannibalization, concept or idea is credible. You know, this is only the first quarter of the iPad, so we don't know in a year from now. Maybe there will be that cannibalization. I mean, it makes sense.
And that's why it's something that we've talked about since the iPad came out. But we have to look at the data that we have. In the first 3 months, it was clearly surprising strength in the Mac, despite the fact that the iPad is out there. I think where the iPad is really doing the cannibalization is in the netbook market, which Apple doesn't have a product in right now. I think they're absolutely cannibalizing the $500, the small netbook. And so, yes, that's a concern. We don't have all the data because, as you said, we're only 3 months into this.
Right.
But if you just look at the numbers, the iPad had a ton of coverage and buzz around it, and yet it was still a phenomenal Mac number. And so we would have seen some impact from it, but we didn't see any.
Okay. Gene, we'll leave it there, but nice talking with you again. Gene Munster, Piper Jaffray.